All right, let's talk about mobility. In my view, mobility is three different things together. So the first one is stability down in this corner. Then we have flexibility in this corner. And those, I would say, are a bit more foundational. And then we've got strength at the top. So stability would be your typical standing on one leg exercise. Think of it as the small little muscles around the joint, keeping the joint stable and maintaining precision. Flexibility is basically stretching. It's your ability to express range of motion in a joint. Strength is your ability to express force or withstand some kind of force or stress or pressure put on the joint. All the three together creates mobility. So mobility means your ability to express range of motion whilst also keep the joint position, so maintain the joint position and exert some kind of force or withstand some kind of force. Depending on what sport you are involved in or what type of activity you do, you might need more or less of these three. However, you would need all three of them to some degree, to some level, to actually keep healthy and avoid injury. For example, if you are a gymnast, you would have a lot of flexibility, but it also requires a lot of stability and strength to do those movements. So you actually need a lot of the three of them. However, if you are a powerlifter, then you would focus your training around strength probably a bit more, but you still need some flexibility to actually hit depth in the squat, for example. Some people tend to confuse mobility and flexibility, and others might confuse mobility and strength. So let me explain what the difference is. If you are mobile, you have all the three of those to some degree. But if you are flexible, you have great range of motion, but perhaps you're not so strong or stable in those positions. And that might later on lead to injuries, perhaps. Mobility versus strength. Let's take the squat for an example. If you're doing a squat and you want to improve your strength, you might not go all the way down ass to grass, which you would if you were doing it as a mobility exercise. You would focus rather on building strength, but it would depend on the person and what type of activity that you are doing and how you want your squat to look like, of course. Whilst using the squat as a mobility exercise, then I would definitely go ass to grass and I would have some kind of weight on there as well, and I would focus on form and just getting the position correct. So you might have heard of weighted stretching, for example. That is, in my view, often a mobility type of exercise, because flexibility is pure sort of stretching and would focus on range of motion, wouldn't really focus on the strength component or the stabilization part of it, really. So that is my view on mobility. So what do you think is mobility? Like, what is mobility to you? If you have a moment, leave a comment below and we can start discussing.